Hello there folks, today we're taking a look at the game called Trade on the Tigris. It's published by Tasty Minstrel Games and the designers are Geoff Engelstein and Sturm. And this game has sort of a civilization theme to it, and you are following different tracks and trying to get different cool technologies and score the most points, of course. But it all evolves around trading different goods. Now let's take a look at how the game works. The Trade on the Tigris is played over the course of 5 rounds, and during each round you have different phases. You have the development phase, the production phase. The development phase is basically where you get new technologies. Production phase is where you produce stuff based on your technologies. Then you trade. Do you trade for the real-time 5 minutes? Then the mercantile is where you will use the cards you ended up with. And then the civic phase, where the barbarians will or will not attack based on the first round they don't attack. Starting from the second round, everything happens. So there will be a barbarian attack, and based on the culture, there will be also a golden age for certain civilizations or civilization. So how does the game play during different phases? During the development phase, you will get the cards based on the position you have. So there's the religion track and the government track. So you will get cards from both of these rows, but based on your position you can draw them from the 0 level or first or second or third level, and also the dictatorship or the democracy or Ashur or Marduk. So for example, if at the beginning of the game that's the position, then you will draw 2 cards from each stack, from the upper stack and from the lower stack, and you choose 1 card from each. So for example, from the religion you can use mythology and you can use atheism. So for example, there is the immediate ability. You will gain 1 culture, and then during production you will gain a card. So if there is a number, there are certain special cards, and these cards are cool because when you get this card during your production, you want it to be traded away because you don't want this card. Not for producer means that you don't get benefit from this card if it ends up in your hands, if you don't trade it away. But for the other player, if you trade away to the other player, it will benefit that player. And there are all the different symbols and stuff, and you get rid of and some defense from different attacks and some extra money on the goods and so on. So these are the different special cards over there. And also there will be a basic production where you will get basic goods. So I would choose one of these. For example, there's also like during the civic phase, if your religion marker is at neutral, gain 3 points basically. This is like not money, these are basically points. And those here, for example, immediately move on the democracy track, or civic. During civic phase you will always move during dictatorship track, and so on. Some of them are permanent, some of them are one-time things over here, some of them have extra symbols, and they will be used if there is a certain ability as well. So you will choose 1 from each, you leave that, you will discard the others. Everyone will do everything at the same time, so it's like a simultaneous thing over here going on. And then you will go to production. For basic production, so for example, your starting production is 5 basic resources, 1 import resource. So what are the different resources? There's flax, and it's not really shuffled. There's fish, and there's goats and so on. There's barley as well, and yeah, all the other things. So, but it's not really important. The important thing is that what does it do. So for example, let's take a look at this resource. So the down here has, for example, the movements towards a certain path, for example, the Ashur or Marduk religion, or the dictatorship or democracy. And you want to move towards any of these religion or government because you will get better technologies from these, and you can also get points at the end of the game based on where you are on the track. Sometimes it gives you a culture as a bonus, sometimes it gives you nothing, sometimes it gives you a point but gives you barbarian. Barbarians are rather bad, and so on. So the different bonuses that you can get from these. So you will produce these, and the import goods are, for example, the silver, and they have different bonuses. It's all the silver, the extra things, then lapis lazuli, and so on. Now this one here shows that if you will end up with one of these cards in your hands, during the mercantile phase, you will get 1 point. So you want to get more of the same cards. So if you get at least 4 silver of the trade, you will get 9 points, for example. So you want to trade because you want to get more of the same good in order to score more points. So let's say at the end of the production phase, you produce something, then you start trading. When you start trading, it's the open trading. So you will put the 5-minute timer, for example, on the phone, and then you will start trading. So you will talk with everyone at the same time. For example, so I need some flags. Whoever has flags, give me, so I can give you maybe a barley instead, or stuff like that. So you will trade off cards and so on. You can never lie about the upper stuff on the card, so you have to always say the right resource, but you can always lie about the lower part. So if somebody says, all right, I'm going to take your barley, but I need to really move to democracy. So I want to go towards the democracy and not the dictatorship. And you're like, oh yeah, sure, you will. And then eventually the person will go to dictatorship. So you can lie about that thing. You can do the honest thing as well. So you can also trade the culture tokens. You can trade barbarians. You can even trade victory points. What you cannot trade, you cannot trade technologies. Technologies are always with you. You can never lose them, and you will build up the technologies eventually. So eventually, after the trading phase, you will end up with some of these cards, and with some special cards as well. And then you go to the mercantile phase. Before that, you can store up to 3 cards underneath here. So the thing is, because during mercantile phase, you will use all the cards from your hand that you ended up with. So if there's something you don't want to use right now, for example, there's only 2 fish and you want to get more fish during subsequent rounds in order to score higher points, you can put it here to the storage, to the warehouse. But eventually, yes, so you will use all of these cards and you will get the ability on the bottom. You will get the points based on resources on the top. So 2 fish gives you 1 point. You will also get 1 extra point from here, 1 barbarian, and you will get 1 movement to dictatorship. And so you count up different movements and you move based on that. And that's how basically the whole mercantile phase goes. Then you go to the civic phase. If it's not the first round, then you will also look at how many barbarians everyone has. The player with the most barbarians has to discard the victory points based on how many barbarians they have. For example, if I have 5 barbarians and it's the most, I have to get rid of 5 points. For example, if I had them already at a certain time, probably had them, I have to get rid of 5 points. Then I will discard to 2 barbarians, so I will get them lower, they go away. And then we'll look for the golden age, and the same with the golden age, but the golden age is good for the culture. So if you have the most culture, you get into the golden age, and that means based on the round that you are in, you can take any technology from one of these. Based on the round, there's the level, certain levels. For example, during the 4th round, you can take a level 3 technologies. For example, the level 3 technologies on Marduk, for example, I'll just show you, immediately gain 5. Each opponent moves their religion marker 2 spaces towards start. You know, it's huge. It's something really big. End of the game, gain 2 points per this and this symbol and so on. So these are really powerful things. So for example, let's say if we go with the dictator level 2, expansion. Immediately each opponent gains 1 barbarian, and during production you can get an import good. So at first you will have only 1 production import goods, you can get more of them. Sometimes you will get rid of the workers and so on. So you will basically gain more and more of these different technologies that will move you, that will give you extra abilities during the different phases. And you will go through these phases mostly simultaneously through the different rounds, for the 5 rounds. Then at the end you will count points. So you will count points based on what technology did you have. Of course, the victory points that you accumulated with these tokens during the game, and also based on where you are on those different tracks. And whoever has the most points will be declared the winner of the game. So first let's talk about components and artwork. Now, this is TMG, and usually TMG does a great production. And here as well, I would say the style, the graphics, the artwork, everything works fine. Maybe the text on the card, like the cards are small, and maybe the text on the cards is a little bit small. But I mean, this game takes a lot of space already with these small cards, so I can deal with that, because I think it's still a good choice to make them smaller rather than make them too big, and then it will not fit on the table. And all the cards and all the pawns and everything else is a great production. I just love TMG production here. So it's 5 out of 5 for components and artwork. Now let's go to the theme. As I told before, this is the civilization theme game kind of, but it's all about trading. And I wouldn't say the theme is strong. This is not a thematic game, to be honest. But what this game gives you and what this game tells you you should do trading with other players, and that's where the theme comes through, in my opinion. You really feel that. So you feel like you are in that bazaar, kind of a marketplace, and you are shouting at each other, trying to get the best deals out of there, and you get that. You give something out, and you take something for yourself, and then you give that same thing to another person to get something else, and and it's all about the simultaneous kind of a bazaar type feel to it. So I think the theme comes through, and also the coolest part about civilization games, in my opinion, like in video game civilization as well, is technology tree. And I feel like the technologies that you're getting are really cool, thematic, because you're going like democracy or dictatorship ways, or Rook or Azure, whatever they are. So you kind of feel that this way, this path, and these technologies are for democracy, and these technologies are for dictatorship. You kind of feel that difference in those technologies depending on what path you choose, and the theme comes through these technologies. So I'm totally up for this for this theme right here, and this was not designed to be a most thematic game, but for what it is, for that kind of a game, the theme works well. So I give theme 4 out of 5. Now let's go to the mechanics, and this is the biggest part. So, as I told you, this game evolves around trading, and you're doing that simultaneously, and you're trying to get the best goods. And I like the part where you cannot lie about the upper part, so about the good itself on the cards, but the cards have the lower part, which give you some moving on the tracks, or give you coins, or give you barbarians. And that's where you don't want to have barbarians, because if you have barbarians, you will be attacked and you have to lose points, and you want to get more cultures so you can get into the golden age and get the free technology, which is really, really cool, nice balance over there. And if you play it with quite a few players, you can also feel that you cannot deal with everyone at the same time. So you have to choose that person, but you overheard that that person should have bronze. All right, so I'll go there and deal with him in that small period of time that is given, the real time. So that all works. It's just a nice experience of that negotiation and trading going on with those small extras on the bottom of the cards, and eventually you get all the hand, and then you're like, oh, I have this barbarian, but I have the culture. And when you get everything that you want, when you get the most of the trading that you wanted to, you feel really, really satisfied. That's where the mechanics come through for me as well. So, and the other cool parts, the amazing part, which I love, is the technology tree, or let's say technologies themselves. They give you some special abilities. So first of all, the workers give you some usual stuff, general stuff, like some usual goods and so on in your hand, but eventually you will have some special abilities. You have the end game scorings, and you will kind of make yourself a very different from each other player, and by the end of the game you are all very, very different. And I like that in that game, because somebody goes dictatorship and he's more attacking person, and somebody goes democracy but gets more benefit, more maybe earnings out of that, and somebody goes that way, and you all go different ways, or maybe same ways, but maybe somebody took technology number 2 and you took technology of level 1, and it's just maybe somebody went heavy on those technologies that give you extra goods and cards you can trade with, or somebody went with the heavy of those special ability cards so you can trade them off because they are beneficial for all the others except you. I like that cool part as well, by the way, with the special cards, where If you get technology with a special card, the special card is nothing for you. So it's in your, let's say you really want to trade it away to someone else, they will get the benefit, but maybe you can get a really cool deal. So it all works, and technologies are cool. Maybe for some people it might be a little bit too much when you get more and more technologies, but it's not that hard, to be honest. It's all nice, and I like the part about the culture, I like the part about barbarians, because sometimes you get really good deals, but you have collected so many barbarians, but then you discard those barbarians, and you know that, all right, I got attacked right now. And by the way, it's cool to get attacked early in the game rather than later in the game. Like if you are getting barbarians, but you're not the first on barbarians, you know, for a few rounds, then you're cool, you will not lose any points. But eventually it comes to you as well, because you have so many barbarians now and everyone else has discarded barbarians, and now you will get attacked. So, and I liked, in one of the games, I liked to kind of find the balance between how many barbarians I got, so I would never lose points for that. So, but it's not that easy, but still, it's really cool. I like that very much. So I give mechanics 5 out of 5. Now we go to replayability. Because this game has a huge stack of different technologies and different paths that you go through, and depending on what cards you get, what goods you have, the replayability is really high, because you never know, like you can play with different players, you can play with the same players, and it goes out differently. This time you got this deal, that time you'll get another deal, and eventually, yeah, you're doing all the same stuff. You're trading with each other, trading basically the same goods, and going on the same tracks, but maybe this time you will use that track, or maybe you will use a little bit of that and then go the other way if you manage to do so, and you will get the technology, you will go heavy on the cards, so you will go heavy on just attacking PvP, you know, all that stuff as well, dictatorship. So there are so many different possibilities how you build yourself up with those technologies, that I feel like this game has a lot of replayability, and that's 5 out of 5 for replayability. And then let's go to the scale. So this game scales, it scales fine. It's not the best, but I mean, like, I feel like it's nice with less people at some point, but on the other hand, as you're getting technologies that involve other players as well, you want to get more people. And I feel I would probably play it with more people as well, because then that's the choice where you cannot trade with everyone. If you're playing the 3-player game, it's, let's say, somebody's like 2 of your friends, they are trading with each other, and you're left off of this deal going on there. But if you play with 5-6 players, then you always have somebody to talk to, and that's really cool. That's the trading part, and that's the really nice and really important part of the game, and that's the fun of the game, where you trade with each other. So I feel like more players, though more players means that you will maybe not talk to every possible person during the trading phase, but maybe you'll talk to them during another round of trading phase, you know. So it's not a big deal, but yeah, with more players, it's more chaotic during trading, but I feel it gives you more satisfaction nonetheless. So it scales better with more players, but I think it works with almost with any number of players. Let's just avoid 3 players, in my opinion. So it scales well, and it's 4 out of 5 for the scale. And the total for this game is 23 out of 25. And this game receives a golden Würfel medal, which is amazing in my opinion, because I didn't think I would like it that much. It's not my style of game. I don't really like negotiations in games usually, but this one does this part of the game really well, because you cannot really lie, you cannot backstab each other that much, except the lower part. Sometimes you give a card away and there was a barbarian that you will get, but it's on the lighter side. And building up all those technologies and doing this whole package for some time, and it might feel repetitive, but it's nice repetitive feeling over there. So, and the production is great, everything is great. So I think this game deserves golden Würfel medal. And yeah, that's it for now. So thank you for watching, And we see you another time. Don't forget to follow Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All the links, all the accounts are in the description below. And we see you in yet another video. Thank you and bye bye. This channel is sponsored by Osprey Games. Check them out at ospreypublishing.com.